To our next council candidate, it is Mike Schmidtler. Come on out, Mike.
A bit of a hand for Stephen. He seems to be the moderator of choice always in Lethbridge, and he always does a great job. So good evening. I recently retired after a 39-year career. 29 years I was with Lafarge, and yes, that's where the concrete leadership comes from. For 23 years, I ran businesses for Lafarge. The last 15 years here in Lethbridge running the Southern Alberta business. Prior to that, I spent 10 years as a water and wastewater engineer. I'm a civil engineer by training. So my comments tonight are a little bit different than some of the ones you've heard, and it's really just a continuation of a conversation we started at the university on Saturday. And that had to do with what is council going to do to combat poverty, and I thought it was a really interesting discussion, and I wanted to carry it on here tonight. So a few alarming stats first. The federal government now spends more on interest on debt than it does on health care. Canada fell from a GDP per person equal to that of the US to lower than the poorest state in only the last 10 years. Debt to GDP in Canada is now the highest in the G7, and not long ago we had the lowest debt. So why am I telling you that? Why I'm saying that is, what did we get for all of that debt? Well, what we got was poverty. The poorest amongst us are the ones that suffer the most. Government creates $1 worth of poverty, then spends nickels trying to solve the problem that they created. So how does that relate to Lethbridge? You don't have to look far to see examples of municipalities doing a far better job creating wealth for their citizens. Coaldale, the county, actually every Southern Alberta municipality outcompetes Lethbridge to attract businesses. And that's important because we want to keep all those well-educated kids. We want them to stay here in Lethbridge and have good paying jobs right here in Lethbridge. They've even put up a sign on 43rd Street asking, why did the chicken cross the road? And it's for lower taxes. No one passes a city crew and says, now that looks efficient. That wasn't intended to get a laugh, but to be serious though, with employees making 30 or 40% more than they would in the private sector, and crews twice as big and taking twice as long, it shouldn't be hard to understand the problem. The private sector can do a lot of this work. In fact, the city already does it. They do a great job of contracting out sidewalk replacement. I'm very familiar with that contract. They can do more of it. I want to be clear, it's not about these hardworking individuals. I don't blame them for going to the highest paying employer. It's not their fault that they're in an inefficient system. That's the responsibility of council to direct the city manager. We don't have to cut services, we have to cut waste. Thanks for coming out tonight.